Right. Is Ozempic all it's being hyped up to be? Is it worth it? Does it have the effects it's supposed to? Are the effects lasting? And or are there better ways to lose the weight? That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Because if you're anything like me, every day you're hearing about someone else you know has started taking Ozempic, and you're wondering, is it all it's cracked up to be? First off, before we get into the how Ozempic works and whether it's beneficial or not, um, first thing I spoke to this outstanding neurologist, Dr. David Perlmutter, at a conference, and he's also a member, he's a fellow of the American College of Nutrition. So he straddles both these worlds, the medical world of looking at the workings of the brain, and also he knows nutritional medicine very well. And he was telling me about the value of this fact that they're doing research showing the benefit, and this has been going on for some time, actually to 2017. That's where this study is from, talking about the benefit of
They got worse and worse, with respect to their movements and their tremor and
in
their
Parkinson's disease.
whereas the group that got the GLP-1 agonist drug, their condition stabilized.
So that was a 2024 study, and it studied in the New England Journal of Medicine, looking at the effect of Ozempic on Parkinson's disease. So they had 156 people. They split them up into two groups. One was the placebo group. The other was the group given the Ozempic-like drug that is a GLP-1 receptor antagonist, agonist, sorry. And in 12 months, the group that had the Ozempic showed a slight improvement in their condition, whereas the group that got the placebo showed a decline, which is quite amazing. We just think about this drug in terms of people take it to lose weight, and they drastically lose a lot of weight. But the idea that it has brain protective effects, that it could play a role in preventing someone from getting Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, is very intriguing, and research is going particularly on in the Alzheimer's side. Why would it have this kind of effect? I asked Dr. Perlmutter that question, and he said, well, the reason is we know these drugs, like Ozempic-like drugs, they're targeting metabolism. They're actually working on this GLP-1 receptor, which is associated with satiety. So you take this drug and you have a feeling of feeling sated, you feel full. It also slows the movement of food through the stomach, so it's there in the stomach longer, leaving you feeling full longer, less inclined to eat more. But overall, it's having an effect on metabolism. And what this says is these diseases, these brain diseases like Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, they have to involve metabolic shifts to be affected by a drug like Ozempic. Let's go back to the Ozempic's most understood benefits, or the ones being celebrated so widely these days. It's weight loss benefits. And I talked to the best guy, or one of the best guys you could talk to about this, a fantastic physician and nephrologist, a kidney health specialist, Dr. Jason Fung, who I've had the pleasure of speaking to many times about Ozempic. And one of the first things I wanted to know about was this phenomenon of Ozempic face. Is this a real thing? Is there really danger of getting these sunken cheekbones and like losing the shape of the face from taking Ozempic? Some people say there isn't, because if you rapidly lose a lot of weight, which is what can happen with Ozempic, it's the same in any situation where you rapidly lose a lot of weight. You're going to lose the subcutaneous fat, which is like a lot of the fat in your face, which is beneath the skin. It's not dangerous fat, not like this visceral fat that is in like the belly fat, fat that might surround your organs. That's a dangerous fat. If you rapidly lose a lot of weight, and as you may with Ozempic, you're going to lose both of that type of fat. So they say that's why you lose it from the face. But Dr. Fung had a kind of different take on that, and this is what he had to say about it.
Is the fact that the way that you lose the weight in the Ozempic is not necessarily just from the visceral fat. So when you do the fasting, what you're doing is you're creating a cascade of hormones, which is the severe reduction in insulin and then the rise in some of these other counter-regulatory hormones, which helps prevent that. When you do fasting, in fact, you primarily hit the visceral fat, which is the fat you're supposed to. Sagging skin is a different problem where you have excess protein, so you're not breaking down the protein. So if you just lose fat, you're not breaking down the skin, and skin is not fat, skin is protein, and the connective tissue, which is all that tissue that holds it together, that's not fat, that's protein, and you need to break it down. So in fact
Right. So if you end up with, there's the potential to end up with sagging skin from taking Ozempic. Of course, Dr. Fung is widely regarded as the founder, the guy who invented intermittent fasting. So he talks a lot about the benefit of that. And if we're talking about an alternative to taking something like Ozempic, this doctor would thoroughly recommend intermittent fasting. I do it on some minor level where I just try not to eat. I try to make dinner, an early dinner, like at 5 p.m. if possible, and not to eat until like, hopefully like 11 o'clock the next day. So I'm getting roughly like, I don't know, like a 16-hour fast in there. And that's when this process of autophagy can kick in, where the cells are going into maintenance mode and they're recycling the recycling matter, they're discarding the stuff that isn't needed, and it's kind of a renewal process that's very good for anti-aging and longevity. What else did Dr. Fung have to say?
As is the a recent study in the Journal of the American Medical Association shows that by about 1 year, about 60% of people, Americans, are off of taking.
Okay, this is the thing about Ozempic. The fundamental question, we know people lose weight on Ozempic. The question is, do they actually keep it off? And this is what I wanted to put to Dr. Fung. And the answer, I mean, he's prescribing people this drug. He's often dealing with like people with chronic kidney disease, like the worst kind of kidney conditions, and he's prescribing drugs like Ozempic in that case. As far as just losing weight, the interesting, people aren't like, the majority of people, he says, are not keeping the weight off. And it's not so much about, he said the struggle is not getting people off the drug, it's actually getting them to stay on the drug. And he explains the reason here, which is quite intriguing.
Drugs, not because they don't need it, it's because it's a really hard way to live. So remember that food is pleasurable, right? It's one of the great pleasures of life. We all know it, right? You get a big promotion, you celebrate. What do? You go have a big meal or something like that, right? It's Christmas. What do? You have a big meal, right? It's a celebration of family. You get together, you eat. It's something that we all look forward to all the time. Well, think about this. So now you take this drug and you no longer get pleasure from eating because you're a bit nauseated, right?
Right. So it's the joy of eating that you miss. I mean, it's you can put up with that for so long. I mean, if you're overweight and you're suffering the negative consequence of that, sure, you can endure the losing that pleasure of eating for a period of time, and you see the weight's coming off. Everyone's telling you how great you're looking. You can endure that, the loss of that pleasure for a period of time, but after a while, it gets harder and harder, and that's why many people, they don't want to stay on Ozempic. Are there other ways to deal with weight loss? Well, I talked about intermittent fasting, which I think is going low carb. Obviously, this is something that Dr. Fung talks about a lot. Other things, we're talking about this, like affecting the GLP-1 receptor, which has this effect of making you feel full. There are other things. There's like the bacterium. We're talking about the microbiome, gut microbiome, Akkermansia muciniphila, which is it's in the gut lining. It's a beneficial bacteria, and this also will affect the GLP-1 receptor, not to the same degree as taking Ozempic. It's like the difference is like 1,000-fold how much this will impact the GLP-1 receptor, but it still has an effect. Other things like allulose, the sweetener, is also something that will have an effect on the GLP-1 receptor, and perhaps have a mild assistance in losing weight. And of course, exercise. Back to Dr. Perlmutter, he re-emphasized the value of doing something like high-intensity interval training, which is good for insulin sensitivity, for improving your cells' sensitivity to insulin, which is going to get the glucose into the cells, and that's going to also have a beneficial for your metabolism and also for maintaining a good weight. And and exercise in general, if you're keeping a regular exercise routine, and for one, building muscle, because the more muscle you have, the better your metabolism is going to be. So is something for you to think about in terms of Ozempic. Let me know what you think. Have you tried Ozempic? Do you know someone who's tried it? Leave a comment, subscribe, help save this channel that I'm now resurrecting and getting on here and giving some health information on. Let's make this a real thing. Thank you so much for watching. Great to be with you. And let's do this again, if not for next Friday, if not before. Please subscribe.